Hello, and welcome to How to Accelerate Your AI Journey with Mistral on Google Cloud. Today's webinar is sponsored by Google Cloud and Mistral AI and produced by Actual Tech Media. My name is Scott Becker. I'm from Actual Tech, and I'm excited to be your moderator for this special event. Now, before we get to today's great session, we do have a few housekeeping items that are going to help you get the most out of it. First off, we want this to be an informative event for you, so we encourage any questions in the questions box in your webinar control panel. Not only will we have team members responding to questions during the live event, we'll also have a dedicated Q&A session at the end of the presentation where we'll discuss in greater detail some of the top questions that you ask. That Q&A panel is also the place to let us know about any technical issues that you might be experiencing. A browser refresh will fix most audio, video, or slide advancement issues, but if that doesn't work, just let us know there in the Q&A and we'll provide further technical assistance. Now, second, in the handout section of your webinar control panel, you'll find that we're offering several resources. I'd especially like to call your attention to links to Mistral in there. The first link, called Mistral AI Models, goes to the documentation for Mistral AI models on the Google Cloud site for generative AI on Vertex AI. So tons of details to dig into there. Then the second link, called Google and Mistral, takes you to the Google Cloud Model Garden, where you can find the Mistral AI Foundation models and some open models and fine-tunable models. So I encourage you to access those resources and feel free to share them with your friends and your colleagues. Now, third, at the end of this webinar event, we'll be awarding a $250 Best Buy gift card to one lucky registrant. Of course, you must be in attendance during the live event to qualify for the prize. Official terms and conditions of today's prize drawing can be found in the handout section. Just scroll to the bottom and you'll find the link with the details there. Okay, with that housekeeping out of the way, let's get to today's timely discussion. So I'm excited to introduce you to our speakers today. We have Leo, who's partner manager for Google Cloud at Mistral AI, and Arizo, who's a partner engineer for Mistral AI. And then joining us for the Q&A will be Shikar, who's a development manager for Gen AI at Google. So it's great to have all of them here. Leo, take it away.
Well, thank you everyone for being here. I'm Leo, partner manager for Google Cloud at Mistral AI, and I'm here with Arizo as well, that is a partner engineer, to present you what we do at Mistral and what we do also with Vertex AI. So, quick overview on Mistral. So, we are a Paris-based team of a bit more than 100 scientists and entrepreneurs. The goal that we have is to build the world's leading LLMs and tools for developers and businesses at any stage of their AI journey, right? And second point is also that we want to bring AI into everybody's hands, right? So we want also to make sure that everybody, can also be using and adopting AI. So a short timeline of some key milestones on our journey. So we were founded in June 2023 by three co-founders from Meta and Google DeepMind. In September, we launched our first open source model, so Mistral 7B, and we hosted that model on Vertex in October. So Google Cloud was the first cloud provider to host our 7B model as well. In February, we launched our flagship model called Mistral Large. That is our biggest model that we have today. And in July, we expanded basically the collaboration that we have with Vertex, adding new models. And also we are keeping on doing so since we updated our large model on Vertex with our Mistral Large 2411. We are still working on more models, features, and tools to be added, and Mistral being made compatible with as well on Vertex. So that'll be coming quite soon. So at Mistral, we've built also products to make sure that we meet each of our customers' needs. So the first topic is that we have a wide range of models. We'll come back to that afterwards, but basically we have really small models up to the large model that we have to make sure that we have the right model for the right use case, right? Depending on the industry, depending on the customer. But the idea is to provide a wide range of models to make sure that we strike on the right target. We also work on what we call frontier efficiency. So the idea is that we make models quite efficient, meaning that they're not the biggest ones on the market, but they are the most efficient ones, right? So we can be more powerful than bigger models, even though we have less parameters, for example, right? So the idea is that our customers are able then to scale without compromising on performance or cost. We also provide flexible deployments, right? So we have our model as a service offering on Vertex. We can also do self deployments on Google as well, and we provide also different types of deployments and more that we are adding also towards Vertex and towards Google Cloud as well. And last point on this is that we adapt our models also to our customers' specific domain expertise, right? So for deeper differentiation, meaning that we can really adapt smaller models or even bigger models to industry-specific tasks, right? That is quite niche, for example. So we make sure that the model is super performant on that specific task. So those are the models that we have today on Vertex. As I was saying before, we're adding more, but just here a quick overview. So we have our model called Nemo. That is a model that we developed with NVIDIA. It has 12 billion parameters, and it's rather a small model, but it can be considered a small model. So you can do, for example, classification, customer support, text generation. Not only, I'll come back to that just afterwards. You'll see the different use cases that we can cover as well. But those are the main ones that we see. And we have our large model. So with the last update from November, right, that can basically cover many use cases as well. And we'll keep updating those models and also adding new ones, as I was mentioning before. On the bottom, we have our specialized model. So cultural, it's our model specialized in code, right? So it's fluent in more than 80 programming languages as well, right? So it helps to translate code, to complete code, to correct code as well. Quite powerful as well to work on legacy systems where some programming languages have been disappearing, or at least the expertise. There's less people managing some 30-year-old programming language, for example, which for some companies is tricky to manage. So Cultural can help also on that, for example. So I'm going to deep dive on some use cases, but just before that, so some customer use cases, but just before that, here are a few theoretical use cases that we can cover with the models, right? So what we see in the market today. So I won't go through all of them, but as you can see, we have use cases around, translation, for example, coding, vision capabilities as well, RAG, function calling, customer support. So it's a wide range of things that we can cover. And here, of course, we have to have the right model for the right use case and the right model for the right size as well, right? So to make sure that the customer is well served and we don't oversize or undersize the use case compared to the customer needs as well. So here's some customer use cases that are public. There are some more on our website, so don't hesitate to go in there to check more. And of course, we have some references on top of that are not public, but those are the ones that we can talk about, right? So again, I won't go through all of them, but you see that there are different use cases. So one is a virtual assistant, another one is an assistant for helping the teams at GoJob to recruit better as well, right? Another one is a coding assistant with Cultural as well, and with Orange, which is a telecom company in France and worldwide company. Basically, we also build some automatic marketing campaigns that we send through messages, basically, to promote services and products, right? So helps them also to upsell and cross-sell as well, and to reach their customers more efficiently. And last one here, it's Carrefour, where basically we were able also to put something in place to generate personalized answers to customer reviews as well, to optimize store managers' time, right? So the idea is to save time, but still be in contact with their final customers, right? All right, so I'm just going to cover quite briefly the use case that we did with CGM. So it's a French company based in Marseille, south of France. They're one of the worldwide leaders in shipping. They do almost 50 billion euros in revenue, with more than 150k employees as well. So really a big company. So we developed with them a virtual assistant. Basically, the context is that within the group wide effort for efficiency and digitalization, they wanted to leverage Gen AI to enhance their internal productivity, right? So what they did is that they created an internal AI assistant, to gradually replace intranet and company dashboards that it was designed to all their employees, right? So all their 150k employees, right? And the goal with that is that they were able to automate daily tasks, right? So, for example, translation of dashboards. They were also able to navigate through internal databases, so basically implementing a RAG solution, right? And also they were able to generate and execute SQL requests from text, right? So an input, text input, but an SQL output, right? So on that we did. So we helped them, of course, on that. We helped them to build the right use case with advanced system prompting as well, in order to make sure that we speak the same language as they do internally, right? So we have to align also with their industry, their own protocols internally, and make sure that the prompts are also adapted to that. And we were also able to basically fine tune the models to make sure that they were super efficient in terms of performance and also cost, right? So why they chose us is because, again, there is that efficiency, of course, that we can provide. So ratio between performance and cost, of course, the fine-tuning capabilities, and also because we are French as well, so native in French as well in terms of the model. And we are quite strong into multilinguality as well, right? So we'll cover that afterwards. But since it's a global company, they needed first French because it's their headquarters, but they needed also to make sure that it worked as as well as in French in, of course, the other countries that they had. And so as of today, we have about 70k employees onboarded, with about 30k active users daily on that assistant, right? So quite a good success. So handing the mic to Arizo to cover that the best practices here.
All right. So when it comes to working with Mistral models on the Vertex platform, the main differentiators that you see on this simple diagram here are actually a good testament of how you can basically scale the usage of Mistral models on a platform such as the Google Cloud Vertex platform by mitigating complexity and cost. And doing so is basically implemented by unlocking several levels of difficulty progressively, depending on which use case you're going to tackle, how specialized your use case is, and also how far the company is for its Gen AI journey. Most, if not all, of our models are trained to withstand RAG use cases. So combining that with knowledge bases, either coming from your own data sources or from something like Vertex Search, for example, can make a nice combo into building RAG-based chatbots, for example. If you want to further customize the stack that you're building, you will soon be able to fine-tune Mistral models directly on the Vertex platform. So this is going to heavily reduce the overhead of managing and provisioning infrastructure, which is often the bottleneck when it comes to these kind of complex operations. But on the other hand, what you also gain is models that are basically tailor-made to your use cases, to your data, to your needs. And more we see people who are implementing fine-tuning and who see very quick return on their investments because they realize that they can actually make small model highly specialized in what their business is doing instead of relying on big generic models that are good up to a certain point. They want this ability to basically switch to a highly specialized model. And for even more custom things like continual pre-training, it is also something that we can work on. Those are often for very specialized use cases. So if you want to discuss more about that, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We will be more than happy to engage on a conversation about that.
Yeah, so just to finish on that, and then I'll pass you the mic again for the demo. But basically, to the best practices for using Mistral AI models is that what we recommend is that don't spend so much time on making sure that you have the right size, the right model size, and just start with a POC on large, for example, with single prompts and no optimizations. It won't cost much, so don't worry about that. But just to make sure that things are working, that you're happy with the performance, that you're happy with the latency, for example. Second step would be then to fine-tune the model. So as Arizo said, this is coming soon to Vertex. The idea is to use your data to improve performance. So it allows you also to eventually scale down on the model that you are using, depending on the performance that you are looking for. And then last point is to also combine several models or even all the models, right? So with advanced prompting, making sure that you have the right prompts for the right use case. We can help on that as well. More than happy to work on that, and we have a team that is dedicated to that. And also, it's quite cost efficient at the end of the day because you're able to mix the different models with their different strengths also in between them. Arizo, back to you.
All right, perfect. Cool. So the demo I'm about to show you is quite simple, but it also highlights how powerful the LLMs can be when basically applied on a real life use case that most people can encounter. Here we are going to work on a multilingual summarization task. It's kind of a mouthful, but the goal is basically to assess the ability of Mistral models running on the Vertex platform to perform summarization in batch on small news articles coming from different languages. Beforehand, this kind of task is not new, but you needed specialized model for each language and for each natural language task, which was kind of a pain. With Mistral models and with LLMs in general, that's something that you can achieve with one, let's say, a single type of model, which is any model, in fact, that you have in the Mistral roster. And we're going to see two things. First, how you can actually implement this kind of application, and second, we're going to see how you can assess the goodness of fit of your summarization task. Because when it comes to LLMs, it's often also complicated to see whether or not a model is performing well. So you will see how you can actually use powerful LLMs to be the judges on smaller LLMs that are able to perform tasks faster, but that may also be slightly bit more error prone compared to the biggest one. And in that case, larger one can actually judge and grade the work of their peers and give this feedback to the user so that the user can improve their prompting or their retrieval process or whatever they built themselves in the pipeline. So I'm also going to show you maybe a bit of code, but not too much. I know that lots of people using Vertex models on Google Cloud are developers, so I think it will be probably appealing to them if I show them very quickly what we're going to do. And for the sake of transparency, it is also, let's say, it is also interesting to do so. So basically, the whole logic of the application is contained within this application, this single Python file, where here we are going to run two things: this summarize operation, which is actually going to download news articles from the Hugging Face portal in the form of Hugging Face datasets. And then it's going to run summarization. And here you can see the prompt, which is in fact fairly simple. Write a 1-2 sentence summary in journalistic. The 2 lines below are basically just a more dynamic way to select which language we want to write the summaries on. Here, the emphasis is really done on the multilingual part. And I'm just going to start the program for the first part. And while it's running, I'm going to explain you what it does a bit under the hood. So here I'm going to ask this program to summarize news coming from Spanish, Korean, and German sources into English. So for that, it is going to ask me how many samples I want per source. Here it's just for the sake of the demo, I'm going to cap the dataset so that it doesn't take too long to download and to run. So I'm going to pick 2 per language. So that is going to make 2 times 3 equals 6. And then I'm going to select which model among the different available ones on the Vertex platform I want to leverage to actually perform this task. So here I'm going to use a small model, which is called Mistral Nemo. It's smaller than the Mistral large model, but we will keep the Mistral large model for the evaluation task that will come later. The benefit of choosing a model like Nemo is that since it's a small model, it's also a fast model. And for operations like this that you want to do in batch, it's a good candidate to perform them with reasonable latency and good throughput. So here the program is going to download items from those sources. So here we can see the names of the Hugging Face datasets from which we are going to source our data. So Spanish news, news from the Naver app in Korea, German newspapers, and then it is going to download those articles and actually summarize all of them by asking the Nemo model to actually perform the instructions in the prompt that we saw, write a 1-2 sentence summary of this, and we just dynamically copy pasted the content of each news article in the prompt and we repeated that for all sources in all languages. We store the result in this file as summaries.json, and I'm going to show you how it looks like in just 1 second. So I'm going to make it a bit more readable because it's not the easiest format, but here there is a lot of text, but if we take a closer look, what you have is for each basically operation, you have the raw text that is written here. So for example, here this is Spanish. We have the summary that the model produced. So here you can see that it did a fairly good job at basically condensing the information in this paragraph into something fairly concise. And as you can see, it worked for Spanish, it also worked for Korean, and it worked for German as well. And this is like a very important part because here a single model is basically able to handle text as input and output in multiple different languages. And let's say those languages are not limited to what we saw before. You can basically implement lots of different combinations. And that's one of the key strengths of Mistral models. But we don't want to stop here. Imagine that we implement this kind of process and you want to put that in production. You want, for example, to have a streamed pipeline of news coming in, and you want to source those news to maybe extract interesting information regarding marketing, regarding competition, things like that. But the thing is, the summaries that you're going to produce are good, but you lack the tools to properly evaluate their quality. And this is where we are going to do something that we often call LLM as judge. In practice, we are going to use a bigger model and we're going to prompt this model to look at the raw text, look at the summary, and actually following a list of criteria that you provide, evaluate and grade how good the summary is. So if we take a look at how it works in practice, it's actually fairly simple. You're going to build a dynamic prompt for this judge model, and the prompt says you are an expert at evaluating summarization tasks. You will be given an article, you will be given a summary. Your job is to basically rate the summary. And here you have a list of evaluation criteria that are defined in pure natural language. So the interesting part here is that those are my criteria, and I wrote them because I believe that in my business use case, for example, those are the relevant criteria. But of course, this is fully flexible. Using LLM as judge, you will have the ability to define your own criteria that fits your own use case and keep the rest of the pipeline exactly the same. And this way, the grades that the judge model is going to produce will be customized and tailor-made to your own use case. So here, those are like pretty standard evaluation criteria for summarization, accuracy, completeness, conciseness, and whatnot. Now that I have all of this built, I can just run the just evaluate command. This is going to read the summaries that we just generated in the previous command. It is going to dynamically build a prompt for each entry in this file with the raw text, the summary, the evaluation criteria, and this is going to be sent to a bigger model. So in this case, we're going to use Mistral Large. That's the flagship model that you have access to on the Vertex platform. And since Mistral Large is able to apply more complex reasoning, Mistral Large is able to handle much more complex tasks than Nemo, which is good for summarization. But when it comes to grading the work of another LLM, it may be a bit more, let's say, challenged. Here, using Mistral Large for batch operations that require an additional, let's say, level of complexity is really the key. And you can apply that either in batch, or you can also apply that in a more streamed fashion. The important thing to keep in mind is that, like, once you have the entire pipeline built for the summarization and for the evaluation, all of them will, so all of the pieces of this pipeline will fully leverage the Vertex models on the Vertex platform, and the result will hopefully be exactly what you're looking for, because now, if we take a look at the results of those evaluations, I'm going to just pick the first one to make it a bit more readable. If you remember, it was about a book. It was in Spanish about a book on the city of Valladolid. And as you can see, we have the original text, we have the summary, and we have also the results that our Mistral large model produced in terms of evaluation. It took the instructions I give it and output exactly what I asked it to output. So for each of those criteria, accuracy and completeness, conciseness and coherence, it outputs a grade out of 5, and it justifies the grade. And the justification is elaborate. It's not stopping at saying because the summary is good or bad or average. It is actually going to provide specifics with respect to the data that it has read. So here, for example, you can see that it's not like a 5 out of 5 because it misses details about the author's background. You can really see that the model did its homework and is looking in detail in evaluating the quality of the summary with respect to the initial text. So that's it basically on my side. This hopefully give you like a very simple, but in my opinion, good overview of what you can do when you build small applications on top of the Vertex platform. And now you can imagine that this kind of workflow can adapt very easily to various other use cases in various other industries. So I'm going to give back the screen share so that Leonardo can wrap things up.
So here. So basically, just a few slides on how to work with Mistral models on Vertex AI, right? So First part is on why Mistral on Google Cloud. Why does it make sense? So twofolds here. On our side, we mentioned that a couple of times, but efficiency is key for us, right? We want to provide the best performance for a given size in terms of models. We are, as Arizo just shared, also really performant on multilinguality. So we are native in many languages, and we have really great performance on more than 20 others, right? And we have also a big community of developers following us, and they really like what we provide. So we provide, for example, function calling, as Arizo just showcased, also JSON mode output, optional guard railing, and many other features that is also appealing to them. On the other side, we have Google Cloud that provides enterprise use cases with security structure that is, of course, on par with the highest standards on the market. We have also the platform integrations with, for example, BigQuery and Vertex tooling, which is key as well to make sure that adoption it's here, right? To use the same platform with the same tools across different models. We have also the fact that we can reduce management overhead. So I was also mentioned that, but basically we have a fully managed infrastructure. I mean, our customers have that. And the billing is also fully integrated into the Google Cloud account, right? So it's quite seamless for the users to use. And last point would be fine tuning that we mentioned that is coming soon. So which will help also again a lot with customization towards the use cases that users are deploying the models for. So in here we have also basically Vertex as a platform, right? So it means that you can, with having Vertex as a platform, means that you can easily basically purchase these models and benefit from Google Cloud's model as a service offering, so what we call MaaS, right? And with MaaS, of course, you get things that we already mentioned, but the fully managed infrastructure, right? So reducing operational overhead. You have the advanced tools for experimenting and building AI applications, and ultimately scaling them also through your company. We have the flexible bidding with pay-as-you-go pricing as well. We can offer also different discounts depending on the commitment of usage that you can provide as well. And we have, as we said, enterprise-grade security, privacy, and compliance measures as well for all the different use cases that you have to build and make sure that they are compliant and secure as well, right? Last points. So model as a service, I think it's clear, but just to recap, we have the API access. So it's basically really simple to integrate Mistral and our models into your applications through that API. And you simply basically connect it and send your request to Vertex AI, and you receive to Vertex AI endpoint, and you receive basically the results back, right, from our models. So you have the managed services that we just mentioned. Again, lowering the complexity costs around infrastructure management as well. It takes also out the hassle of basically configuring servers, right? For example, or scaling concerns, right? You don't have to be afraid of scaling a use case because the pricing is quite competitive, so you won't have a surprise on the next bidding as well. So that's also quite something important that allows you also to scale different use cases, right, and not just test it on the side. Last point is also the fact that we can streamline workflows, right? So Vertex AI is able to streamline the entire process, right? So from model selection to deployment, monitoring and scaling as well. So it allows you to, again, accelerate on the AI journey that you have and initiatives and achieve a faster time to value, time to market, time to ROI as well. Last point that we mentioned a bit earlier, so self-deployment. So same here. The idea is that we provide self-deployment options we are going to increase also the options around self-deployment as well, so different models. But the idea here is that, of course, on self-deployment you will have more control and more customization options as well. It gives also that it provides also the freedom and flexibility for you to deploy and manage models according to your specific needs and preferences as well, right? And you manage also your own infrastructure, of course. So on that, it means that you can basically you have the power to manage. You have the power to manage your own requirements, of course, and leverage, your GPUs or TPUs, for example, to optimize performance and cost efficiency at any time, right? Same goes here. It's quite easy. You are also using Vertex AI endpoints at the end of the day, right? Which gives you complete control over the integration and interaction with the AI models, right? And you're also able to you have access to model tuning, basically, which is basically fine-tuning pre-trained models or your own even custom models as well, which allows you to adapt the models to your specific data, tasks, needs, right? And at the end of the day, you maximize the accuracy and effectiveness of the models, right? Last point. So getting started basically with Mistral on Vertex is super easy. You can go on Vertex AI Model Garden with your Google account. You search for Mistral, so you'll end up with our models, and you select just a tile. So a tile is basically a tile that is telling you the name of the model. Once you go on it, you'll end up in that description window screenshot here that you see, and basically you have just to select enable and follow the instructions to connect the model to the API, and that's it, right? It's super simple. So go in there, test the model, and don't hesitate to test the different models. Again, we have a wide range. We're adding more. We're adding tools as well and features. So things will go even further. At the end of the day, we'll have our complete suite on Vertex AI, and you'll be able to manage everything on that easy-to-use platform. So thank you very much. Hope you like it, and feel free to reach out as well to either Google team or to us directly. We'll be happy to help also, and make sure that you're ready to embark into your AI journey, or continue into your AI journey with Mistral, at least, right? Happy to take any questions if there are any, and again, happy to sync offline as well if you have any more things that you wanted to cover.
All right, great session so far. Really interesting presentation and eye-opening demo too. So, all right. So, let's see. Horizon, Shakar, you guys ready for some questions?
Yes, ready on my end.
All right. Super. So this is Horizon. This first one is for you. What industries or sectors have seen the most significant benefits from using Mistral AI's models?
So the thing is, Mistral models are used in like a lot of different industries, but there are always common denominators. Basically, any place where you need to handle either knowledge management or customer service, we see people using our models. Typically, knowledge management is anytime you have to factor in internal data sources, documentation, reports, and whatnot. So like this goes beyond a single industry or a single domain. But anytime that you have like those like text data items involved, then we see people using our models to ingest them, or sometimes even to produce them. Anytime you have, like I mentioned, customer service as well, where anytime you have to provide either support or recommendation to your customers, you very often see that done through the interface of a chatbot. And same thing under the hood, that's fairly often our models, either like vanilla models or fine-tuned ones that are used by customers. And again, this is like independent from the industry or from the business domain. And one last point, which is a bit more peculiar, is developer productivity. So on Vertex AI, we do have the code troll model, which is an LLM that is specifically targeting coders and developers across like many different languages. And the idea is to provide them with like a coding expert that they can reach out to, either through an API or even through IDE assistance, so that it increases their productivity and it helps them documenting, enriching, and augmenting their code. So in short, knowledge management, customer service, developer productivity across many different areas. This is where our model shines best.
Okay. All right, great. A couple more things in from the audience here. Kudos from Jessica and Aaron on the presentation. Great presentation. Thanks for that feedback. Also, another question here. Wondering how complex and secure is the training process in the self-deployment model shown?
So I assume by training, this is probably referring to fine-tuning. So in case of like self-deployment models, the idea is that at fine-tuning time, you will provide access to your data in your own cloud tenant. So this is basically conditioned by the permission granted on your cloud tenant. But in the case of model as a service, there is no security, there is no security concern per se, because there is no training in a way. You're just like requesting the model, running what is called inference. You're just querying the model. You're not like further training it. When it comes to fine tuning, this is something that is going to be available very soon as a serverless service. And you will have the usual guardrails and security measures that you already know from the cloud to make sure that the training data that you upload is only available to let's say, the entities that you have allowed in your cloud tenant.
Okay. All right. Excellent. Thank you. There's another question here, specifically about Hindi language, but I guess just generally, what languages do you guys support?
So our science team, when developing the models, has made a great effort into expanding beyond the usual languages, such as the main European one and English. So in languages like Asian languages, Korean, Chinese, Japanese. We also have, I think we did get a few good feedback on Hindi, good feedback on things like Arabic as well. So out of the box, those models should be able to handle those languages fairly well. I don't have specific benchmark numbers at hand, but it's something that we can look into and probably elaborate on in our external communication, because we did receive some good feedback about it.
Okay. All right. Super. Another question for you here. What's the typical journey to scale use cases?
So usually what we see and what we advise people to do is to start simple. Because there are lots of different things to do and to try out, but it's always about reducing, let's say, the time to value for a given business use case. So usually people start simple with our Mistral large model, which is fairly good at a lot of different things and fairly generic as well. Mistral large and prompting. Then you refine prompting little by little. And once you get to draw, let's say, the boundaries that you need to cross to get to the next level for your use case, then you can decide whether or not you want to jump into things like retrieval augmented generation or RAG, when you need to retrieve external knowledge from your own data sources, or if you need to further fine-tune the model, so feeding it lots of examples that are specific to your use case, to your domain, that the model should further learn from. But this never comes first. It's always after this initial step of like starting simple, just the model, a bit of prompting, and then adding more tooling, more complexity little by little. Always keeping in mind that the goal is not just to use like the latest and greatest technical feature or technical algorithm available to in the realm of LLMs, but always keeping in mind that like the most important thing is like reducing time to value.
Okay, excellent. And Shikar, I just wanted to give you an opportunity to pipe in on that if you wanted, just about anything you want to add about scaling on Vertex AI.
Yeah, I think Leo definitely touched on this earlier, but I think Mistral deployments on Vertex AI can be scaled pretty easily. Look at automatic scaling. Like Vertex AI offers auto scaling capabilities that adjusts resources based on your needs on a real time basis. And if you're using model as a service, that means as your workload increases, whether it might be more users, higher volume, more tokens, Vertex AI automatically provisions more resources to maintain the right performance. So that takes up a lot of work that the enterprise customer has to do, and also optimizes cost. If you have higher SLAs, I think you can reach out to the Google team, the Mistral team. We can give you provisional throughput and other mechanisms that does the same thing, but also offers standard SLAs and higher SLAs on if you want to scale your workload. Finally, I think we do load balancing automatically, incoming traffic across multiple instances of your Mistral deployment. You can do most of these. So if you are using model as a service, a lot of those scaling challenges are solved at the back end through Mistral and Google product teams working together.
Okay, excellent. Shikar, there's another question here for you. Just from the Google perspective, what are the advantages of using Mistral on Vertex?
Yeah, I think great question. Leo touched on it in depth, but maybe I can add some things that were not really touched. So, three standard things. I think first, simplified deployment and management. That I was talking about. No infrastructure hassle, streamlined workflows. You don't have to deploy servers on your side. The second, enhanced performance. Vertex AI comes with the high performance of that Google Cloud provides, optimized workloads, automated scaling, accelerated inferencing. All those become really core and key to how you do stuff on Vertex. That reduces a lot of complexity as well. The third is, I think that's very key, is cost optimization. You can also pay. You can do, because of model as a service, you can go pay as you go pricing. You can only pay for the resources you consume. You can also do self deployment, and you pay for the GPUs. But for the model as a service, you go pay as you go. That is huge cost optimization, and efficient scaling is what you can do. And then I think two things that I really want to add is the advantages that Google Cloud provides, not just Vertex, but Google Cloud provides, like seamless integration with Google Cloud, other services, whether it is data storage, analytics, monitoring. You can see that Vertex AI is seamlessly integrated to each of these services as well, which is a huge advantage if you are trying to productionize, like Harizio was saying, any of those enterprise applications. The end-to-end AI solutions that you are trying to develop, they becomes way more easy. And finally, for the commercial aspect of it, unified billing. You get Vertex AI billing, and with that billing, you get the Mistral usage combined as well. So you get one easy unified billing as well, which is a huge time saver across for different functions in your organizations. So a lot of advantages for why you should use Mistral on Vertex AI, and gives you power, flexibility, security, eases your compliance, eases your billing. I think lots of advantage that you can gain from using it on Vertex.
Okay, fantastic. Yeah, go ahead. Okay. So, Horizon, this next one's for you. Wondering, how does Mistral AI ensure the security and privacy of the data processed through its platform, especially in sensitive industries like healthcare and finance?
So if we come back to like the big picture of the presentation, which is like using Mistral AI models that are deployed on the Vertex AI platform. I think the question is more for the Vertex AI platform, but the good news is that by using models built by Mistral on the Vertex platform, you actually automatically inherit all of the guarantees of security and privacy that are provided by Google Cloud infrastructure.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, and so we probably got time here for one more, and let's see. So there's a question here. What's the learning curve like for teams new to Mistral AI, and are there training or onboarding resources?
So for newcomers, we provide several sources to get started. So I'd say the most intuitive one would be our documentation. So if you go to docs.mistral.ai, you will have getting started examples. You will also have code snippets that are specific to getting started on the Vertex AI platform. We also have a GitHub repository that is public, that is called the Cookbook repository, where you have more in-depth examples on specific topics using Mistral models. And we're also currently working with the Google Cloud team to create Mistral plus Vertex specific assets that we are basically co-developing, co-building, so that people can actually get started and accelerate fairly quick with Mistral models that are deployed on the Vertex AI platform.
Okay. All right. Fantastic. So docs.mistral.ai and the GitHub repository. And also remember in your handout section, there's also the Mistral AI models goes to documentation on Google Cloud site as well. All right. Well, Horazo, Shakar, and Leo, thank you all for a really informative presentation and for all your insights here in the Q&A. Really appreciate your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot. This was amazing.
All right. And our before we wrap up, we do have one more piece of business, and that is the Best Buy gift card prize drawing. And the winner of the $250 Best Buy gift card today is William Manneberg from Illinois. So congratulations to William Manneberg. We'll be in touch to get you your card. And with that, on behalf of the Actual Tech Media team, I want to thank Google Cloud and Mistral AI for making this event possible. And thanks as always for attending and for your great questions. That's going to conclude today's event. Have a fantastic rest of your day.